Now, due to all the most recent volatility, there's names throughout the market, stocks and ETFs that are on sale, and some of these assets are trading at numbers that we haven't seen in quite some time. Now, due to the most recent volatility, also the VIX or the volatility index has been spiking like crazy, which means that even though for a while there wasn't all that much volatility, there wasn't maybe all that many buying opportunities, they're starting to come about pretty quickly. Now in this video specifically, I'm going to go through one of my favorite higher yielding income-oriented ETFs that offers not only income, but also a ton of growth potential. This is an ETF that I personally been adding to my portfolio over the last year or so now, but just as of recently with where it's been trading, there is a massive opportunity to not only grab some shares at a much lower cost basis, but also to lock in a much higher yield on cost. So if you're a dividend investor looking for some deals in the market, I promise you're going to want to stick around. Now with that being said, drop a like down below, subscribe, and let's get right into it. My A to Z dividend investing ebook has helped countless dividend investors get started with their journey. And my custom dividend tracker that I'm constantly using here on the channel has also helped so many investors stay on track and allow them to see their dividend income in real time. Well, today I have another treat for you guys. I'm not only going to offer you my A to Z dividend investing ebook and the custom dividend tracker, but also just for a short limited time, I'm going to be adding in my brand new weekly dividend blueprint ebook to show you how you can get started with weekly dividend ETFs and add this into your investing strategy. This offer is not going to last long, so go ahead and click the first link down below in my description, and you're going to get both ebooks and the custom dividend tracker bundle. But like I said, please act fast because this won't be around for long. Now let's get back into the video. Now the ETF that I'm talking about, the ETF that is on sale as of right now, at least relative to the last year or so, is ticker symbol GPIQ or the Goldman Sachs NASDAQ 100 Core Premium Income ETF. Now I've made several videos about this ETF in the past, and I've talked about the fact that this ETF's objective and reasons to consider investing is honestly almost spot on with my personal investing strategy and objectives, but don't worry, we're going to go over all that in a second here. Because even more importantly, at least as of filming this video, GPIQ or the Goldman Sachs NASDAQ 100 Core Premium Income ETF is down now year to date around 5.5%. Now in the max time frame, GPIQ is up around 20%, and this is not even including dividends. And the year range so far is $40.01 as of the low and $50.85 as of the high. Now, even though this is a premium income ETF, this ETF, because the underlying strategy does have a bit higher beta, which means it is going to shift around a lot more. And that also means there's a lot more upside potential with this one as far as share price goes, but also just as of recently, like we've seen, when the NASDAQ dips pretty hard, this ETF is also going to follow. Now, for me personally, in my portfolio, I started adding GPIQ in the $48 range, and even as of recently, I grabbed some shares in the 50s. And that's because long-term, I do believe in the NASDAQ 100. I do think it's going to keep performing very well over the next several years. But I decided to grab some NASDAQ 100 exposure through GPIQ because this ETF, like I shared earlier, offers an amazing strategy. Now with GPIQ trading in the mid 40s, and maybe even lower if we keep seeing some more volatility in the NASDAQ 100, this is going to be a potential good opportunity to lock in around a 10% yield, and that's if, of course, this ETF keeps distributing how much income it has historically. But along with that, for me personally, my average cost now is above where it's trading, so I have a potential opportunity to lower my average cost, which is huge because this has been one of the main ETFs I wanted to get my hands on in a larger fashion, but I just have been waiting for some dips. Now to go over some of the basics, why I'm so obsessed with this ETF and why I think it's almost a perfect ETF out there for income-focused investors that also want some growth potential. Well, to start off, the objective says seeks current income while maintaining prospects for capital appreciation. So this means that this ETF is going to be obviously more of a premium income focused ETF, which is at least seeking to pay investors like myself and like you guys income on a monthly basis. But along with that, this ETF, because the underlying strategy is going to have prospects for capital appreciation. But again, that also means that you're going to have to stomach some of the downturns when the underlying NASDAQ drops. Now, under reasons to consider investing, it says seeks consistent monthly distributions, which is very important to my personal investing strategy. I'm building out a long-term portfolio that I want to use to pay my bills later on, so anything that pays monthly is a bonus. It says aims to generate a consistent monthly distribution rate, generally from option premium and equity dividends. Now the payouts for GPIQ have been very consistent, and I'm going to share with you all the payouts here in a second. But again, spoiler alert, we're looking at around a 10% yield. Now here's the real bonus for this ETF, especially during bull markets. It says core equity exposure with lower volatility, provides core equity exposure to the NASDAQ 100 and dynamically sells call options, allowing for participation with rising markets and potential outperformance in negative to flat markets. Now what this means, simply put, because of the dynamic cover call overlay, during times of short-term volatility, the cover call overlay could definitely potentially make up for some of the downside, but during bull markets when the NASDAQ 100 goes up very quickly, which is what we've seen in the past during multiple different time frames, this ETF is going to have the potential to grow with it. And that's even though this ETF is mainly an income-oriented ETF with the prospects for capital appreciation. So again, simply put, this ETF is going to have the potential to pay you a massive amount of income compared to the rest of the market, again around 10% based off of the previous payouts, but along with that is going to grow very quickly compared to other covered call ETFs, and this is again just because how this ETF is built. Now if you want an investment that's going to grow as fast as the NASDAQ 100, then maybe this ETF isn't perfect for you, because with the covered call overlay, it's going to be scraping up some income, but also going to be potentially capping some upside. But for me, I think that's a perfect trade-off, because again, for the most part, I'm looking for consistent income generation. Now lastly, it's this diversifying source of income seeks to deliver attractive income with a lower correlation to traditional investment sources and their risks. Now as far as the distributions go, which I'm sure a lot of you guys are curious about, we're looking at around 42 cents, 43 cents, 41 cents, around 40 cents more or less for every single share you have for every single month. And this is all the way back to December of 2023. So again, nothing's guaranteed. You're not necessarily for sure going to receive around 40 cents per share per month, but that's what this ETF is paid historically. Now I talked about the fact that this ETF has around a 10% yield, and based off the 12-month trailing distribution rate, we're at 9.91, which again, comparing this to most of the other NASDAQ 100 covered call style ETFs, take GPIQ for example, or even QQQY, the amount of yield potential is very competitive, but again, because there's so much upside, I think this ETF has something special to offer. Now I sort of mentioned the fact that this ETF offers basically NASDAQ 100 exposure, but through an income-oriented product. If you compare GPIQ to the QQQ and use total return as a metric, on the max time frame, GPIQ is up around 38-39%, and on that same time frame, QQQ is up around 41%. So again, they definitely are comparable investments, at least for the most part. And again, depending on what happens throughout the market during times of short-term volatility, I think GPIQ even has a chance to outperform. Now, because total return is such a popular metric, and for good reason, especially for a lot of you guys watching this, you're not necessarily super concerned with how much an ETF or stock is going to grow or how much it's going to pay you in dividends. You want to know about total return. Because total return is so important, which I agree upon, I think this ETF, as long as the NASDAQ 100 recovers like it always has historically at some point, I think this ETF specifically could outperform a lot of the other premium income ETFs in its same class. Because there's so many other products out there these days that do similar things but a little bit different, it is sort of hard to know which ETF is going to be perfect for you potentially. And like I mentioned earlier, even though this isn't necessarily the case for every single one of you guys watching this, for me personally, my long-term investment objective in the stock market is to seek income while also maintaining prospects for capital appreciation. I personally have been building out a portfolio for several years now, around 8 or 9 years to be exact. It does exactly that, pay me income on a quarterly or monthly basis, but along with that, as a bonus, I would love for some of these stocks and ETFs to grow in price, which they have also. So because of all those reasons and more, in my humble opinion, I do think that GPIQ could be offering a nice buying opportunity, but I'm going to put my money where my mouth is and keep adding more shares, especially if we see more dips from here. So now that we talked about GPIQ, the almost 10% yielding NASDAQ 100 premium income ETF that has paid consistent income since inception, but also maintains prospects for capital appreciation. I lastly, most importantly, want to hear from you guys down below. When it comes to covered call ETFs in general, what's your #1 favorite as of right now across the market? Drop the ticker symbol in my comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to please drop a like on it and subscribe for more future content like this. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.